What's up, guys? Max here, and welcome back to the show, the Jam Session. Today, we have two of my good friends, also work colleagues, also Celsius sponsorship colleagues on indie films. A lot of fun. So above me is Andrew Hendrix. He is a DP in New York City, also one of my besties. Once upon a time, I slid into his DMs and Instagram, and the rest is history. And below is Kyle Travis Sharp. He is our director on the recent feature that we all shot and had a lot of fun on. So thanks, guys, for joining. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us, man.
But yeah, so current series, all of our followers and stuff, they've been seeing us review like Stranger Things and other stuff. But as much as I love just reviewing movies, we also work on them and we enjoy working on them. We spend way too much money on stuff like this and like making movies and equipment. And it's just fun for us to get together and talk about what we've been working on. And a recent project, Kyle can kind of give you the quick synopsis, but we worked on an indie called The Blue Woman. And Kyle, you can tell us about that.
So the Blue Woman is my attempt at making a French noir stylized thriller set in New York City. It's kind of a punch in the face to the world kind of a film that I wanted to create, and I think we did a pretty badass job at achieving that. So. Yeah, I mean, it's a crazy roller coaster of a movie. I think people are going to really dig it. Other than that, I don't know. We'll get into it.
Right, yeah, and we're going to go over some BTS. We actually started taking photos on set with like a really nice camera called a Leica that Andy brought, and then we neglected it after like day 2. But we still have other BTS from our cell phones and stuff that we'll show. One of the main questions is, so you want to direct a feature. So what are you actually signing up for? Like we hear about it a lot, Kyle, that like people see directors in a certain light. They're shown in a certain light through like, you know, documentaries and behind the scenes, but we don't really know what goes into like, what is the role? What are you actually signing up for?
A lot of hard work. It's the craziest. Along the way, a lot of people just say this is like the most difficult thing I've ever done. And I definitely felt that. Kind of at the helm of this thing, like it's a years long process. This one I think took about like 3 years from starting to write it to getting it done. It's just a lot of work. It's super exhausting. It's every day. It just kind of asks everything of you. It's kind of just like pushing a rock up a hill. It's Sisyphus. That's really all it is. Every day there's a new battle. Everything goes wrong, and you just gotta kind of problem solve and fight your way through. That's really directing in a nutshell.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people talk about like, you know, there's directors that I've heard of and we've worked with that, you know, like they're very hands-on and they almost are like a control freak. And then you have other directors who just like try to express their vision and like trust their people to do the job, you know? And from our experience, you were very good at just letting us work and trusting us, which was a lot of fun. And this cause brings in Andy. We work with Andy a ton. For something like Blue Woman, you're a DP. You were the director of photography for Blue Woman. So what does that job entail for the scope of Blue Woman? And to organize everybody in the audience, the Blue Woman is an indie feature. Small crew, close-knit, actors, everybody working together to accomplish this we shot how many pages in 2 weeks, Kyle?
Oh my God. I think we wound up shooting at least 90 something pages, probably.
Yeah, we were moving quick.
Right.
And we were in tight quarters, small spaces, and people were probably seeing screen grabs of what I'm talking about. Like the record store was tiny, you know, stuff like that. But Andy, you're a director of photography. Like for our audience that like doesn't really know what that truly entails, what is it?
I'm in charge of basically the overall look of the movie. So I am the head of like the lighting and the camera departments. So I kind of dictate what happens in those worlds. And then I basically get that information from the director. And so, you know, I just do what I can to bring his vision to life.
Yeah. So in this case, The Blue Woman is a noir styled film. And funny enough, like our first AC who couldn't join the call today, his monitor is black and white, and we're like making a noir film, and we're like, oh, it should be black and white. It looks dope. And they're like, no, we got to keep it in color because it's going to be in color. So Kyle has a vision. He has what he wants it to look like, and Andy's job is to bring it. He's like the artist that puts it together and like pulls it out of his mind and starts putting the image. So Kyle can then go focus on other things because a director ends up being like a project manager. So like,
Yeah.
like you're like, I saw a lot of times you're worried that like the crew's not getting fed, which we appreciate. Like when like I'm on a set and bro's like, are you guys hungry? Are you thirsty? Like, you don't understand how nice that is to hear. like we've been around people and we've worked with people that just don't give a shit about that. And I'm like, and the whole crew's been there for like, 12 hours or something. And it's like,
It's brutal.
Yeah.
It's grueling. And that's the kind of one of the things that you kind of have to worry about and be hyper aware of is just like you said, we did have a small crew, but it's still a solid amount of people. And everybody has their own personalities and things going on in their life, and they're dedicating a wild amount of hours in a really truncated period of weeks. And you gotta kind of be there for your people, and whatever that might be, whether it's food or, as you mentioned earlier, Celsius. There's actually two Celsius is still in our refrigerator that we seem to
Go get
only
'em.
drink them while we're making a movie. Go get them. These lasted the test of time. They've all right, it's an ad now.
Hell yeah.
These were honest to God, a saving grace. I've never had one in my life, but on this film I became almost a Celsius addict. So it's long hours, it's rough work, and anything at that point in time that's going to kind of carry you into the finish of that day. Celsius was there for us.
Yeah. And this is not sponsored in any way, but you like really threw
No.
it there. Like,
And the great thing about Celsius is that it does not age, it does not expire. It is just probably nuclear runoff, and for whatever reason, we love it.
all right. So, this is like an offshoot question for our segment too, but Kyle, so how long did it take you to write the Blue Woman script?
To write the Blue Woman script, I would say about probably 2 years. 2 years when I started writing it. Yeah.
Yeah. And what was your like headspace that got you to start? Like, what was the vision? Where did the story come from? What really kind of drove you to like get the work done?
Yeah. So I was writing. I wanted to write something super gritty and different than the first film that I wrote. So I wound up starting to write. I was kind of always fascinated by Jack the Ripper, and that was kind of an entry point. And recently had like some kind of a strange breakthrough where I realized in an English course when I was younger, the teacher handed me it's slipping my mind, The Cask of Amontillado by Edgar Allan Poe. And that kind of, I guess, was always in the back of my mind. And after writing The Blue Woman, I can kind of clearly see where all of those things kind of entwined and landed me on this piece. But I wanted to write something that was a contemporary serial killer genre piece, kind of in the vein of Seven or, certain French films that I was kind of inspired by. And I wound up writing this like NYPD detective thriller, and the serial killer character in that, and I wrote like 108 110 pages maybe of that, and then realized that the serial killer character was the more interesting part of that story. And then I kind of decided, all right, I'm just going to take this character and see what I can do with this character. And I just did a page one rewrite, and it kind of evolved into the Blue Woman. But a lot of it was honestly born out of things that you write from what you know. So like, certain, if something would happen to me in real life, like, unfortunately I've had relationships in the past where, I've been cheated on and stuff like that. So that kind of became an aspect of something that I kind of wanted to dive into. And then you kind of just put characters that you invent in situations and see where they go. So yeah, I mean, my headspace, I listened to a lot of bands like Nirvana, Rage Against the Machine, stuff like that kind of put me in a lot of hip hop and rap, kind of like aggressive energy. And I'd lock myself in a room and I would just get characters talking to each other, honestly. And they led me to some really strange fucking places, but I'm happy with it now.
Yeah.
But that was kind of the journey it took, and just massaging that over time.
Yeah. And to give the audience some context, so right now on screen, I'll pull this up. This is a picture of Kyle in one of our sets, and paintings are very important to this movie. And I'd never. This movie was the first time I met Kyle. I've known Andy for like almost 10 years now. So
close.
Feels like
Yeah.
I'm getting kind of old, bro. It sucks.
Uh-oh.
This is like why we use like easy rigs now, because like our shoulders and arms can't really hold cameras anymore.
Yeah,
Anyways,
well, my forearms have been annihilated from handhelds. So.
Yeah. But I met Kyle, and when we jumped on this call today, I was really confused for a second because I was like, "Who is this man?" But Kyle shaved his beard, and like I didn't know who it was.
Who is this man?
Like, how did he get this like private link to get into this like studio recording? But this is Kyle. Was it you were just like not shaving your beard while we filmed or something? Oh no! Why there was one of our actors was playing a homeless man, and he had to grow out his fingernails, grow out his hair, and like you kind of like were a bro and grew out your beard with him.
Shout out to Tom Miller, who spent the better part of at least 4 to 5 months really going for it. He grew out his beard, he grew out his hair on top of his head and then had it bleached. He grew out his fingernails and his toenails, which was like, we were talking to him before we actually wound up shooting, and he was saying things like, "I'm having trouble walking in shoes," and I was like, "Tom, you can cut your toenails," and he was like, "No, dude, I'm in it." So
yeah,
I mean, just getting that level of commitment from people was tremendous.
Yeah, so here's a picture of Tom.
Not even to mention, from the point I jumped on, the start date would like push, and then every time we pushed, I was like, "Oh God, poor Tom, poor Tom." Another month of being November.
Yeah. So here's a picture of Tom. His hair is all grown out. He was playing a homeless man, and he did a great job. And what's crazy is like, so I live in South Carolina, and this is like my home base down here. I have 2 kids, wife, although my wife is from Brooklyn, so she keeps me like, in a good direction. And I kind of like fly up to New York to work with Andy on projects like this movie we just shot with Kyle, and Tom actually went to a school near where I live for college, and it was kind of fun. Yeah, he went to Clemson. So like,
oh, that's right.
Yeah, so I was like,
wow,
no way, man. So like, I'm just like on a roof in New York City, just met Tom, and like, he knows all about my hometown, and like, he's been to like the Chili's here, like what? That's crazy. That's awesome.
Not just the Chili's, but probably the Bojangles.
Oh, people really dig Bojangles here, which is crazy.
I sent you that link. It's opening here.
Yeah. So I mean, I've had it my whole life, so it's like pretty normal. It's like Shake Shack or something in New York. Shake Shack is pretty
Bojangles
dope.
Is not normal.
I haven't been.
So before you shoot anything, Kyle, before we even like start production, planning a movie, you got to plan a movie that you can actually finish. So just kind of spark note it, like, what are some of the core, I guess at this point, advice you can give yourself, your past self, on planning a movie?
Yeah.
On making sure that we can accomplish this in our time slot and like stay to the budget, and make sure people get fed.
Yeah, it's a really complicated thing. I mean, because you have an idea for a story, but then you have to, like, even just on its face, this was going to be shot in New York City. So there's so many issues that come up with that in terms of locations and stuff. So early on from the writing process, I kind of tried to, do I have a location for this? Okay, so I'm going to write this scene engineered specifically for this scene. Now, when we went to shoot, a lot of those locations fell through, but I, in the writing, left those vague enough to kind of swap them out. Sometimes 8 hours before we wound up shooting the location, which was ridiculous. But being aware of a lot of things. As a filmmaker, you don't just make movies. You have to kind of be good at other things too. So, knowing honestly, the state of the economy is kind of an important barometer for things, because when you have to I raised all my own money for the two movies that I did. And so I have to know what I'm talking about when I go and approach people. If things are tight in the world and the purse strings kind of get a little tighter, then that is going to eat into the discretionary income that a potential executive producer might have to give you. So knowing all of those things, I wrote a small and contained film. So with that being said, it still was chunky in some areas, and we had to kind of, on the day fix stuff. But I did my best in like my pre-production period to kind of write to all of those strengths.
Yeah, and Andy, so for your perspective, like for the image, the look of a film like this, how early does a DP typically need to get involved? Like when is it appropriate for you to start talking to a director?
I mean, honestly, for me personally, I want to be in there as soon as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So if I could be involved like 6 months beforehand, amazing. Like 3 months is good. This one, I probably had like 6 weeks or so, maybe 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I mean, that was good, I think. I mean, it certainly wasn't a large budget movie, and I think we were able to really dial in like a very specific look and keep it consistent. So that was enough time.
Nice.
Yeah, you guys blew it out of the water. Sorry, Max. I just want to say, let's blame our producer, Ante Novakovic. I was railing against him. I'm sorry, Ante. I love you. For months and months going, I need to meet our DP. And he was like, in time. And then he did pair Andrew and myself together. And Andrew, I mean, just the amount of hours we spent on the phone, Andrew, myself, and my co-producer and girlfriend, Marcella, just going over storyboard and scene by scene and kind of just spending so while it was 6 weeks, it kind of did feel like 6 years at times. We did put a lot of time into that. Again, a very shortened period, which is tough.
Yeah.
Well, the craziest thing on a movie like this, like something that I learned, is it's almost like when you're prepping for it, it's like two different worlds. There's like the world where we start the work and we just jump in and start spending all of our time together. And so it's like, we're coming up with like very detailed plans of what we want to do. And then there's the world of the actual shoot where all of those plans we made, we literally switched every location within the week of the shoot. So they all got thrown out the window. So we basically had like a week to plan. And so we were still able to really dial it in.
So for me, I have to schedule accordingly to be on set because I have, like I said, I have 2 kids, and Andy knows I don't like being away from them for too long. And, this particular shoot like got pushed a little bit. So I was like planning on like missing Halloween with the kids. And this would have been my second Halloween I missed due to work. You pushed it, and which was actually kind of nice for me because I actually got to spend Halloween with my kids.
Cool.
So that was actually really
Great.
nice. And then, after like 2 weeks of being away, I come home and I'm like, my wife's like in dire need of help. So I'm like,
oh my God,
it's okay though. But
We're sorry.
I would say for us, one of the more interesting things that happened is that Kyle and I would meet painstakingly every day and talk like over Zoom for like, I don't know, 4 to 6 hours a day. So we shot listed every scene in this movie, like very specifically. We got very granular with it. And so by the time we shot it, having lost every location but the bathroom, we didn't have a shot list on the movie. But it's like when we're having those meetings, it's like that it's more important that I'm just like gathering the vibe of what he wants to do in those scenes so that was possible. It's like, so once we got to each location, it's like we're kind of rolling with the punches and making it up as we go. But deep down, it's like I know what the plan was for the original location. And even if this one's not shaped the same, it's like I know generally what we're trying to convey and how to do that. So
yeah. So, Kyle, budgeting. There's the movie you want versus the movie you can afford. So,
Yeah.
so what does budget change creative? When did how does budget change creative decisions, and what do filmmakers always underestimate? That's questions for Andy and myself and you.
Well, so in terms of the budget, like I said, I knew I wanted to shoot this in New York. Um, so early on, our lead character actually, the mode of transportation that he was going to use besides the subway and walking, New York's a walking city, was I wanted to see if we could get him on a skateboard. Because for a number of different reasons, I wanted him to be on a skateboard, and I thought that would be kind of interesting to see on camera in New York City. It's a certain way of viewing the city, which I thought was going to play really well cinematically. So, but very quickly, you realize that it's going to cost so much money to get the rigging to be able to, shoot some guy skateboarding down the street in New York City. So we tossed that to the side. We were like, all right, we're not going to do that. That's insane. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different stuff that comes into play. We had which was a scene that at one point I loved, and now I'm really thankful we didn't shoot it. But there was a morgue scene, which we kind of, in my house, we always kind of refer to as like a joke now, the morgue scene, which would have been just god awful in the film. But it was something that, one, we didn't have the money to build that set. So it kind of was like, all right, so then how do we gain access to an actual morgue? And the permitting and fees for that were not feasible on our budget level. So that was kind of something we just had to do away with. So you gotta kind of make a lot of creative decisions and say, all right, is there a better way to do this, or are we just going to lose something? Because at the end of the day, a lot of it comes down to money, what you can and can't get away with. So
yeah. And then Andy, this kind of goes in line with budget as well. So I can speak to this a little bit, but we love shooting on certain camera systems for movies like this. We primarily shoot on like RED cameras. And there's particular film, Andy can talk more about it, why we did it. We shot on a Komodo, a Raptor, and a Gemini, 3 different camera systems from the same company. I think number one, we use them because of speed. They match quality that we enjoy, and they can kind of like stand up to the like intense lighting demands and stuff like that in certain setups. And like we can kind of push the camera system a good bit. Like we can shoot outside at night, and it still look great. And then also it's speed. These cameras are able to move fast, and we don't need like a crazy crew to build around these cameras. But Andy, why did we choose these camera systems for this movie?
Well, on this particular one, when I read the script, it's like we're looking at there's a ton of night exteriors in New York that I knew going into it, we wouldn't be able to get permits for. So we were going to need something that was like really lightweight, really fast, and something that could see really well in the dark. And I own a RED Gemini for literally that purpose. I shoot on that. Like I loved doing like doc style stuff on that. And you and I are both RED owners. So we're just very immersed in that world. So I'd say for you and I, those camera systems, we're able to work with them very, very quickly. We can strip down the builds and have very lightweight builds. Like they're just very versatile cameras. So a budget like this, it makes a lot of sense to have the ability to have multiple bodies, where, we had a Raptor and a Komodo that we could use as A and B cam for 2 camera setups. That increases the speed when you're shooting an indie. And then having the ability to just get a great image at night with minimal lighting, even a lot of times available lighting, that just said to me that we needed to use a Gemini. And that's also the reason why we chose spherical lenses on this one, even though we normally shoot anamorphic now. But I really needed something that we could push. So you could see it, yeah, in a couple of those stills there. Like we had to expose to the city skyline at night. So we knew going in we'd need to be somewhere around a 1.4 for that.
That's because you didn't want to shoot the wall.
We could have shot the wall, yeah, but we ended up using the wall as a light.
Which was amazing. You guys are literally the best, man. Unbelievable what you guys were able to accomplish and create in a really ridiculously short amount of time. It's crazy.
I mean, it's a collective effort. I mean, see, the way that I like to operate on a set, like the way that I guess you could also say the way that I grew up. I played team sports. I worked with people, and I had coaches that I had a coach. I wrestled in high school, and that we would have to run. It'd be like a 45-minute run just for conditioning, and he would run with us. And this is like a 50-something-year-old man. It's like he would run right next to us, and his name was Coach White. Keith White is an OG, and I remember running with him, and he'd be like talking to me, and and run, and I'm not going to quit. My coach is literally running next to me, and I remember being at football practice where the coaches would just be yelling at you and yelling slurs at you, and making you do stuff. And it wasn't necessarily encouraging, but on this particular film, everybody was working together, so even if we're there long and I don't really care how long we're here, we're all working together. It doesn't really, if we're all in the thick of it, it's no problem. It's really no issue. Because and on most sets, it's on the schedule, it says we're going to have a 10 or 12-hour day, but you stop rolling when we're done, right? But then there's still a whole mess that we have to clean up, and that's not actually counted into the full day sometimes. So we're there for 14 or 15 hours, so that's okay. As long as especially on these indie movies, and that the crew is very willing to step up and be here for this. It's not just a job. It's something they want to do. There's plenty of productions in New York where people show up for, it's like a 9 to 5. They're not passionate about the project. They just know that Amazon is paying the bills, and then something like this, it's very close knit. And even the actors are super cool, and they're very talented. And this is also where they're trying to get their name out. And this is maybe one of their first real projects. But at the same time, everybody sits down, we eat together too, which is super awesome. And you don't really get to see that, or anybody that watches this movie won't get it, but we will, and it's a whole different perspective. And that's why we do little shows like this, because we like to share some of that perspective.
Also, to be clear, on this specific project, we didn't really go into overtime. We had 2 total hours of overtime on a 13-day shoot, which is insane on a low budget.
Oh, I wasn't trying to talk shit.
No, but
I was trying to be a little sentimental. I was being appreciative.
Because I've been on ones where we've done an 18-hour day, and on this one, we probably had a couple 10-hour days.
Yeah,
actually,
No, we did wrap early sometimes, and then
it was crazy. We were efficient. It was great.
I will say though, there was we would we'd have a late call time, and then we would wrap, because if you go in at 2, you're not really leaving till 2 a.m. So, but there was a pizza place where I was staying near in Astoria that stayed open till 4 a.m. I ate pizza 3 or 4 nights in a row. I was didn't give a shit.
Nice.
Just
so tight.
It was
hell yeah.
And I would show up to set the next day, and Andy's on the roof about to pass out. And then I'm just I just crushed pizza for 3 days. I'm fine.
Welcome back to New York, Max.
Bro, I tell, like I said before, I'm not little husky, but I'm hardy. I'm just ready to go. This is what happens when you grow up on a farm, Kyle. All right. So,
oh my God.
All right. So I know when you wrote this movie, there's always the vision, the kick-ass sequences and stuff. But what does it take to write a movie that is doable, shootable, without killing your ideas, or what makes it good?
Oof. I think it's just a commitment to it, because I would say a lot of this film I mean, I could go to the screenplay and pick out any scene, and I'd be like, I mean, Andrew and I would say all the time, why the fuck did I write this? Like it was all stressful and strenuous. So I think it was just a crazy level of commitment to be like, no, we're gonna find a way to do it. Uh yeah, because if I would go back, I wouldn't want to change anything now, but on like, day 6 of the 13, if you asked me, I'd be like, dude, can we just change all of it? Um,
Yeah.
but you just got to really stay focused. And I think if you're trying to direct a movie, you have to be good at like sales in a way, kind of, and to kind of get people to want to join your team and help you accomplish it. Because you know, I always used to think about, and I still do, about like directors as kind of pretentious assholes, and I feel like that's why I don't really um I don't know. I like everybody and get along with everybody, but I just feel like a lot of people take themselves way too seriously,
Yeah.
and you're not doing anything alone. So that's kind of the one thing that I always want to remind myself of, and anybody who's around me, is that like, I don't do anything alone. Um so you have to get people to want to join your team, and once you do that, then I think anything is possible.
Yeah. I agree.
Also, some of the questions you're asking are like, it's funny because they were actual themes during the shoot. Because like one of the ones you asked earlier, like one of the things that you didn't see is that, Kyle and I would go have our special time together where we would talk about stuff, and he would like have the script with him, and we would be like it was like a running joke during the shoot, like actually they're shooting the scene and being like, okay, so on the page you have like the $5 million version of this scene, like
Yeah.
there's also like a $2 million version of it, and then there's the budget that we have. So what can we do on the budget that we have? And
Yeah.
sometimes that kind of informs what you're able to do. And luckily, Kyle's the type of person who can roll with the punches and still figure out how to deliver that information while being conscious of those situations.
Thank you for saying that. I do have to, again, it's the whole village mentality. What immediately jumps into my mind is my acting teacher when I studied acting, Dina Levy. I believe, was this a Meisner quote? But it's limitation is the springboard to creativity, and that is always something that I think about, always aware of, because like Andrew was just saying, there's the $5 million version, and then on the day when you're faced with issues, you go, well, what are we actually going to shoot in the next 30 minutes? And then you have to really quickly move and roll with the punches. And oh my God, Andrew and I did that nonstop. Almost every time you turn the page, it was just change after change after change. And it was something we just had to do. The movie kind of just presents itself as it wants to be filmed. It becomes a weird living entity like that. I don't know. Everything seemed to be like, the hardest version of a scene is really what it was. And so we landed in that middle ground somewhere each time, I feel like, and we were better for it. But yeah, oh my God, very stressful. My beard, yeah, you could see it right there, is so gray. A year before this, my beard was not gray. Let's see it get a good scene.
Oh man,
That's craziness. That's directing right there. Is just, you age overnight. Crazy.
I'm starting to get a couple gray hairs here and there, but luckily,
oh man,
I'm bald. So I'm like, it doesn't fucking
Lucky.
matter.
I've shot a couple
I
movies
might not
now, so I'm all gray.
I might not be far from you. I might not be far from you, Max. I think I got a little, Marcella spotted a spot on my head up here where I think I might be thinning out. Can we see it for the people? I just drooled. If the camera picked that up. They're like,
Nah,
this
you're
guy's
good.
a disaster. Let's cut that. Actually, don't. Who cares?
All right. So two spicy questions. What's more dangerous, an ambitious script or an unclear one?
Ooh, what's more dangerous? Definitely an unclear one. Because, with an ambitious script, at least you could have people kind of prepared and say, all right, well, this is going to be difficult, and then kind of formulate the best plan of attack. An unclear one, everybody's just going to be, running around like chickens without a head. So I would definitely say an unclear screenplay is something you should try not to do.
Yeah, and then I'm going to modify this next question a little bit, but is the director rewriting on set a sign of brilliance, poor prep, or just like what we just talked about, the process? Like this happens.
A scene is never done until it's shot.
Right.
So you'd always be prepared to rewrite anything. I could think of we had an intimate scene that we were shooting with our two leads, our male lead and our female lead, and it just wasn't working. And it wasn't anything that they were doing. It was just it had to do somewhat with their blocking and the screenplay. It just didn't feel real. It didn't feel truthful. They were doing a great job. It was just the dialogue needed to be changed. And so we made a couple tweaks here and there. And thankfully, our actors were so uber prepared that they were so confident then to roll with any punches. So I would say it's kind of a necessity. It's kind of a necessity. I wish I could call it brilliance, but comments would kill me for that one. So I won't do that.
Yeah, cool. No, I do remember that actually. And yeah, it's also just like a part of filmmaking. I mean, like you can't control the weather. You don't really know. And sometimes like there is no rescheduling. There's like, we can't move this to tomorrow. It has to be done tonight. So we need to make this fit in tonight. It's like, yeah, there is like creative direction and vision and like, sure, on like a $100 million budget, then you can really bend a lot of rules, and like, and also this, and for our audience that doesn't know, like on large TV shows and large movies, they have a lot longer of a window to do scenes. They have like on an indie, we have to fit like multiple pages into one day. So like in many cases, actors just need to like just do their thing. We don't really get to do it a lot of times. We have to be moving forward constantly, very on business, versus like being artful or, and then Kyle did a great job of just being the director and moving us along and like accepting, this take, this is good. We can move. And instead of just like,
Yeah.
let's just do it again because it's like, no, that because the little minutes add up all day, and like,
Yeah.
and we have 90 plus pages to get through in 2 weeks, like, so
Yeah, it's tremendous.
we have
It's
to
really
move
nuts.
and you have to
A lot of that though is thankfully I could just say it's yourself, Max, it's Andrew and Marcus, right? So having you guys there, I mean, if we did say we're running two cameras and there he is, say we're
there's
running two
Marcus.
cameras and a lot of times Andrew would be, when he's operating, I'd kind of look at him and say, good. And he would kind of give me a look one way or another, or he'd say, I want to get another run at it because, a technical thing here or there. But you got to kind of realize, okay, the performance was there. The capture in camera was there. We don't need to do another one. And because of time constraints, you do have to move on. But if you have a good rapport with your team, then, knowing that Marcus is going to be editing it and Andrew is operating the camera himself, if he knows he got it, then, hey, we're moving on. And it's having that trust in the multiple team members to do that. So that was a huge saving grace for us.
Yeah. And that kind of leads me into my next thing, which is our segment 6. So how does a director and DP split creative control without stepping on each other's toes or, playing politics?
I think it was effortless, really. We just kind of got each other and knew, so many times I would be in another room doing something or whatever would be happening. And Leanna, Kaz, everybody's setting up. And then Andrew's like, hey, I want to show you something, and pull me in. And he'd go, I'm kind of thinking this. Is it cool if I try this? And I'm like, fuck yeah, man. Like, that's why I wanted you here, because I trust you. You're so good at what you do. I'm not going to tell you what to do. Right. So like, that's another thing. So whenever it came to creative decisions or something, it's like always a meritocracy. Best idea wins. And Andrew would always throw great ideas and say, hey, I want to try this or try this. And then you look at the monitor and I'm like, oh my God, I'm the luckiest guy in the world. Yeah. So I thought it was effortless.
I'd say it's different every time, because I'd say every DP is different and every director is different. For me, I normally gravitate towards directors like Kyle, where like the whole relationship is built on trust. You know, we're both just doing what's in the best interest of the project. And so, you know, for me, Kyle is very trusting. We've talked a lot. We have a good concept of what we're doing. So for me, ideally, Kyle is just very focused on working with the actors, getting the performances to where he wants them. And I have such a strong concept of what he wants already that I can put that in action. He doesn't have to like babysit or anything. And then, you know, once we like get to it, it's like no surprises. We're just both already on the same page. You know, I don't think ever really caught off guard. It's just like we both just kind of know what needs to serve the project. He knows that I have literally zero interest in directing. I don't want to overstep or anything. I just want it to be what he wants it to be.
So this is gonna be like our last like general discussion segment, and then we can literally jump into actual like BTS and talking about maybe some stills and stuff. So Kyle, we talked about a little earlier, like directors have like egos, you know, like like I've all right. So I feel like there's directors, and I'm gonna actually ask my actual question here in a second, but I feel like there's like directors who just like want to be directors. You know, they just want to like run the show and like have the title, versus like directors who just kind of need to do it because they're the best person for the job. You know, like they have the vision for this particular idea and like they understand it the most. And that's why you typically see like writers become directors. I mean, they wrote the damn thing, you know, like they understand the story. And so like, what's in it? What is it? Goals, taste, a legacy? What are you actually trying to do with a feature in this case, and also being a director?
I never saw myself as being a director. I always kind of prided myself on being a writer, which I always thought was kind of the coolest thing that I could be. You know, I used to operate heavy machinery. I used to work in a quarry, and always had like ideas and dreams of I want to write. And lo and behold, I became that. But directing was never. I had no idea. I mean, I would get so nervous. The day before we started shooting, I sat down, myself, my co-producer Marcella, and producer Ante. We sat outside, and he walked me through the exact cadence of how I would say action. I had no fucking idea what I was going to do. It was like shitting my pants. And that's the complete reality of it. The only way that I became a director was by force. If I was going to get this movie that I'd written made, that was the only way I was going to get it done. So I was, you know, it sounds like hokey, like I was forced to direct a movie. But that really is what it is. There was no way that I was going to be able to raise money, assemble a group of people, and do it the way that I had seen. And, you know, when you guys all see this film, it's a different film. It's a strange film. It would have been a really hard sell to kind of convince somebody to direct it. And so that set me with a whole other list of issues as a first-time director. It made it way more difficult in that regard. But I was very apprehensive approaching it, and it was nerve-wracking. I almost didn't want to do it. And the coolest thing that I think people can do, I was a PA quickly. I was a PA on this show, East New York, which was like one of the greatest learning experiences in my life. And the showrunner and main director, a guy by the name of Michael Robin, who was so sweet to me and let me kind of run around and learn all of these different, and just be this annoying kid running around his set and learning all these different departments and stuff. He was so even keel and calm, and I kind of just took a lot of note from that kind of demeanor on set. And so when I was approaching this one, it just became about the work. So directing for me, it's really a tough thing. I mean, even I'll be completely transparent here. Even the beard was kind of a misdirection. The beard was to kind of have people take me more seriously, honestly. And there's a lot of weird mental exercises that you have to do um, to show people that you're serious. And so I started growing this beard that I refused to cut until I got the picture made. It was like my hockey playoff beard. And people were like, dude, you look insane. Yeah, look at that. And then another thing, I ran the New York City Marathon because I wanted people to see that I was taking things seriously, and if I sought out to do something, that I could accomplish it. So it's a lot of proving to the world, and so it's a really stressful, difficult thing. And unless I absolutely have to do it, I don't think I could ever direct anybody else's project. I know that's a really long-winded answer, but I didn't come into this knowing that I was ever going to be a director. And
Yeah.
still, I don't think I am. I don't know. I just was with a group
Get
of
out of
people. We all
here.
made a movie.
You are
together.
now. You did it. You
I
are
guess.
now.
Oh,
Kyle's the type
thank
of
you.
person that you want to be a director, because Kyle isn't in it for like the ego-driven reasons of like wanting to be a director or wanting to force this like vision onto a group of people. Kyle's there because he's passionate about telling a story, and that's why from like day one I wanted to be a part of it, because those are the kind of people that you want to work with, like not people who are going to arbitrarily push an agenda for no reason. It's like everything he's doing is in service of this project. He's just living it from the second I met him. So
I mean, I had there was a great story that we were talking about before. And when we wrapped, just because I feel like the things that were helpful to me were always people who were just being really open and honest. And so the first film I'd written was Sanctioning Evil, and when we wrapped principal photography on that, it my bank account, I believe, I had a negative $127.
hell yeah.
And when we finished The Blue Woman, I think I had like 55 cents or something in my bank account, which was like I'd become, what a success. Like I'm like 1,000-fold richer than the last time. So like, but so the stress of that, the reality of that behind the scenes is that we were months late on rent. We'd been eating ramen noodle and hopping turnstiles in order to go to a meeting, whatever it may have been. Like it's, my mom was helping. She'd get us groceries. I mean, it was like really crazy. Because at some point you have to, we quit our jobs on February 8th and didn't make the film until, what did we shoot it in, October or November? I don't even know. When did
Who
we shoot
knows?
The Blue
I don't
Woman?
remember. It just
Did
happened,
we
man. It
shoot
just
The Blue
exists
Woman?
now. You just willed it into existence. It's just here now.
But that's it. And so that's the stark reality of it, is that is that level of commitment needs to be there. And if it's not there, then I just don't see how you kind of forge a path forward. So, and it's not like woe is me or anything. I'm more than happy and willing to do that all over again. But that is the reality. And that's where I feel like you get a lot of attrition from the film industry, is just people who it gets to be too tough. And for whatever reason, they have to kind of hit the eject button. And
and
it's hard.
it is hard. And, there's like, from my perspective, for full first, totally objectively, as somebody who is walking in to a movie set, that I know some people, I don't know everybody. I just met you. You did a great job. It was really great working with you. I worked with you over and over again. That was awesome. Because number one, you respected everybody and you shook everybody's hand and you like gave people hugs and were like, you're just a team player. And that's all that
It's
most
not as
people
common
really,
as you'd think.
Yeah, it's not. And that is like more than, like Andy just said, than a lot of people get. And it's like, and I'm one of the first critics of like actors and people who are treated like royalty on sets, you know, because you'll have like the person who wins an award, and I don't want to be mean, but I don't mind, but they're like, they worked so hard on this movie and all this stuff, and I'm like, well, somebody got there 4 hours before them and stayed 6 hours after them and cleaned up their mess and got paid, you know, 10,000 times less than they did. And they're not winning any awards. They're just, you know, they're doing it for the love of the game, or like feeding their kids, you know, like, and and we put these artists, and they are very talented. I'm not saying they haven't earned what they've earned for a reason, but they're propped up by everybody else holding them up. You know, like everybody around them holds them up. And it's nice to be on a set where we're just holding up the film. We're not holding up somebody else, you know, like, and that's super nice to be a part of. But, and for our little last segment here, the last, like, I'd say like 10 minutes of this episode, let's talk about The Blue Woman. So first, what does success mean for this movie? Like artistically, professionally, and personally, like, what do you want out of it?
I just want people to see it. I think it's going to inspire a lot of people to tell a lot of different stories. And I feel like that's probably the coolest thing that could come of it, is what seeing people do could inspire other people. Independent film was something my dad introduced me to in life. And I was kind of like everybody else, where I watch a movie and it's like, oh, who's in it? And that's kind of the determining factor for if it's good or not. And then with indie film, I was kind of like, oh, it's actually better to tell a story without super recognizable faces, because then the story is the thing being served. So I feel like this is probably, well, I hope, going to inspire people to, try their hand at whatever story they have burning in their gut to try and tell. So success would, for me, be being able to make another one. That's what the first one did, and I hope the second one enables me to just make a third. That's really it's kind of how I'll measure it.
Yeah, and if this is for a hot take question, so for your next movie, would you rather make something really divisive or just something that everybody likes?
So the next one is it's going to be really cool. I think it's going to be something that everybody likes. It's kind of it's just an immigrant story of people trying to succeed in America. So it's a complete turn from The Blue Woman and from Sanctioning Evil. And it's not because I want people to like it or have a wider reach. I just feel like I had this idea for an opening scene and I can't just let it die. So I have to make it now. So
sick. Well, I guess we get to make another movie. I'm down for it. Let's do it.
Hell yeah. Right. I hope I get to do that one.
So,
oh, you will, bro.
We're going to go pretty quick here. And for this next section, if we pull up like stills from the actual movie. So this is for our audience. This is where pictures are totally on the screen a lot. So Kyle, you're in a kitchen here and you're talking to, introduce us to these two guys on screen real quick and kind of give us the spark notes of what's happening here.
So center in the photograph is Andrei Kogolanak, who is playing our lead character Clip. And standing to the left of him in the photo is a gentleman by the name of Tom Miller, who's playing the role of the homeless man, or later to be known as November. And this is in what was to be our main, I think we spent 4 days here in this location. So this was our main setup, and a lot of weird shit goes down in this space, and especially in this kitchen. And so you could see, first thing that jumps out to me right now is how much light is entering this space. And I'm just thinking of Leanna and Kaz running around and trying to make this space, which they did look so gorgeous, but I get flashbacks of that. Oh, look at those. Oh my God. It's crazy.
Yeah, and let's give Leanna. So we had two amazing people on set, and Andy can give the introductions, and I want to get them on the podcast. So if they're listening to this, great. I really want to talk to them, because at this point, I don't want to be anywhere. When we schedule commercials, nowadays I text like Leanna to see if we can move our commercial to her calendar. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't like doing things without them, because like they're the kind of people that when you bring them on set, and I'm kind of doing the introduction. Sorry, Andy. When they're on set, we don't have to worry about stuff. Stuff is just taken care of. Like, this works. This lighting works. And Andy, you can talk more about them.
What do you need to know? I mean, Leanna has an innate understanding of what I want to do. It's basically just like you and me, but in gaffer form. Like, Leanna already has a good baseline for what I want, and she can pull that off quickly. And Kaz, this was my first shoot with Kaz. Now Kaz is my new bestie for life. The KG that we always needed, key grip, just pulling off amazing looks, super fast, having both of them on the same page. So
insane. They'd yell out, Kyle, what time does this scene take place? And it'd be like, I don't know, whatever, like 2:38 in the day, and they'd be like, okay, no problem. 5 minutes later, it looks exactly like that light coming through. When just wild, man. It was really trippy working with them.
Yeah, and to give our audience some context, is there is people that have no clue what any of these acronyms and roles mean. So a gaffer basically controls the lighting of a scene and creates the look. So if Kyle asks, if it's daytime and he asks, we need to be shooting at night, and what we call it what, day for night, and they make the room look like it's nighttime, and Kaz, our key grip, helps with building everything. They understand the intricacies of all these like lighting and how everything works. And I'm an idiot when it comes to that stuff. Like I'll get asked questions and I don't know. Like, don't ask me these questions.
Me too. I'm right there with you.
Bro,
it was wild to watch the mad scientists at work. It was really nuts. That's another thing. I don't think people have any real understanding at what goes into their jobs, at what goes into being a key grip, being a gaffer. I mean, it is so complex. I'm colorblind, so it's hard for me to fathom even the beginnings of it. But I mean, what I was watching them do every day was just so remarkable. And again, just super level-headed and, problem solvers. Just honestly, just real problem solvers. It's cool to be around that.
And then for our audience, another, like this picture right here, Kyle, you can describe more too, but Kyle's talking to two of our actors. And while Andy is in the background talking to Kaz, talking about the setup and like how this looks, what we're doing here, you are doing what looks like to be some blocking, describing the scene, and kind of like they know their lines, they know, but like how do you want to portray this scene? How does it need to happen? Because remember, audience, that we're moving fast here. We don't have 2 days to shoot 4 lines of dialogue, like some other projects have. We have a good 35 minutes. So
yeah, and the crazy thing is that looking at this photo, this is Jill Durso. She's absolutely phenomenal. She plays who is the gallerist of this picture, and so Clip is trying to sell his artwork to her, we'll say, and she was just phenomenal to work with. Somebody who was just super prepared, super gung-ho about taking the performance to the next level. And she had a lot of really interesting choices that she brought to it. Even so far in as before shooting, we would be on the phone or emailing, and she had ideas to change the dialogue, and would that be okay? And I remember saying to her, personalize it, make it more your own, so you can connect with things more. And she did just that. And I mean, no bullshit, Jill, when you watch this, I have actual chills as I'm thinking about it. She did in some of these scenes, like some of the greatest work. I mean, I remember, Andrew, you remember the bathroom scene. It was jumping up and down. I was going, oh my God, did we get it? Did we get it? Like, yeah, Jill is just a special talent. So we were really lucky to work with her.
Yeah. And what's funny is this is like random. It's no spoiler. So like, but there's a documentary that came out about Stranger Things, and it shows like an actor talking to a director and giving a suggestion for the character. And people talk shit about the director not knowing their characters enough, and the actor has to give notes. And I'm like, that's not crazy at all. Like actors invest their entire job is to invest time into this character and understand this character and bring in parts of themselves and like understanding where it should go. And it's pretty normal for an actor to be like, hey, director, I think she would be feeling this, or like she would, and the director's like, I thought about a bajillion other things today, and I thank you for saying that, because that's great. That's a great idea. And like, so that's actually a good thing, audience. Stop talking shit about directors. There's a whole series of Instagram videos of like dragging some directors through the dirt because like an actor gave a suggestion about their character. And I'm like, that's normal. That happens.
Yeah.
Like it's
everyone
a good thing.
Gave Shia LaBeouf a lot of shit on Megalopolis for making suggestions for his character to Francis Ford Coppola. I think probably because tonally Francis Ford Coppola is like annoyed with him and brushes him off. But if you actually watch the clip, the things that he's suggesting are actually very reasonable, and that's what an actor does. And it's kind of a dickish move on his part.
You're hiring this actor to bring this character to life. Like that's their 100%. Job, is to like make it believable. And they bring like I'm not an actor. I like when you put me true, like look for the podcast, but I'm like, I have notes in front of me and I can follow a script. And I have a lot of practice doing this, but like, if you put me on the spot, I like freeze, for real situation, if I had to like actually act. And it's always impressive to watch these people work, because like, dude, how do you he went from like normal guy to sociopath to like normal guy. It's like, it's pretty impressive. I'm not going to lie. And then like Jill, she does her like art gallery, like super serious, super intimidating woman act. And then like as soon as she's done, we're back to like talking about my 2-year-old and how cute, like she's back to normal. It's like, it's cool as shit. Cause I'm just over here like a giddy dad talking about my wife and my kids. And then like, oh, sorry, Jill, you got to go act serious. My bad. Like
she actually she was the only one, I think, who asked me this, but she wanted to know the music that I was listening to. When I remember writing it in an email to her, I sent her like, I think, a list of albums. And for whatever reason, I didn't ask, but I knew that was, a way for her to kind of try and get into my head as the writer of it, or her character Lena's head. But she did say that music was helpful for her. So, again, it's, you got to allow people to ask questions and kind of make something their own. I feel like that's going to elevate their confidence level and give you that better performance that you're looking for. Jill was really cool to work with.
All right. So, by the way, welcome, Marcel. You're on camera now. Hi. All right. So for our audience, we're going to go through some photos on screen, talk about the image, what's happening. Then we're going to introduce our actors. And first off, there is Kyle can describe more, but I'm gonna let Kyle do this. What is this? What are we looking at, Kyle?
So we're looking at our female lead. This is Juliet, and she played the role of Marie, and she did an absolutely incredible job. She's the only person, I think, on the planet who could have done this. But this is a obscenely tricky role, because in writing this film, I had decided that I was going to dedicate a lot of musical pieces to this, and I can't write music. I can't write songs. I can't sing. I can't play any instruments. So that was a creative box that I had found myself in, which I would say don't do. If you're listening out there and you want to do it, don't do it. Luckily enough, I had my co-producer and girlfriend here, Marcella, who is a musician and does have the ability to write songs. So her and our composers, who we are so lucky to have, Al Petrelli and Derek Wieland, they spent 8 months prior to pre-production creating original music that was going to be displayed and showcased in this film. And so this is Marie singing. Is this going to be a moment of violence?
She, I think, is singing it there. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't speak French. No one writing the music or making the music spoke any kind of French, but all the music is in French, which is crazy. Yeah.
It's nuts. So yeah, this photo, when Andrew and myself were talking about this, we wanted to do something kind of really bold, and a credit to you, Andrew, that you got what I was trying to do early on, and didn't ask me to change from that, but that was, oh, you want to show these as full on performance pieces, and I was like, yeah. So these are really tricky setups, and I mean, you could just see the lighting on that. I mean, it just looks absolutely gorgeous. So, yeah, so we actually did shoot one of our other actors, Jean Brassard, who is this amazing crooner. He plays the role of David. And so in the film, you guys wrote 3 songs.
There's 3, 2 French.
Yeah, all in French. And that was something that was a challenge that obviously I wanted, but that was a crazy thing to spend all of that time. Before we shot anything in the film, we were in a studio in the Upper West Side, just creating this music for the film. And then when that was done, we could go into the actual shooting of the film. So even though this was an indie picture, it was, ridiculously thought out. And, it was, I think it really shines through the fact that we did all of this. It paid off. Yeah, I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous. So I'm really, really proud of the musical aspect of this movie. Yeah, Andrew, these are amazing. And again, something that you guys did with very little prep time. Good. Please start talking about this. Look at this shot, that light beam right there. What the
So
hell?
one of my first phone calls just about this movie kind of touched on the aspect that there would be music in it. And for me, I've shot and directed a ton of music videos. So I was like, oh, okay, well, that's going to be easy. I can just fall into my comfort zone on that and just, like, that's not a hurdle at all. I can just shoot that super quickly because I've done it a million times. So, like, for that blue image there of her with the microphone, I'd say there was literally not really a plan for that. I just shot that handheld. I think we just kind of discussed what you wanted, and I was like, let me just do a take and just see if this is what you're imagining, and then I can tell when people like it when I can hear them at the monitor, just like, oh, holy shit! So
Sick.
it's like, all right, well, we must
Sick.
be doing it right. So for me, this portion of the movie is like Blue Velvet meets the dreaminess of Mulholland Drive, just kind of like trying to, you want to convey the aspect that this is a performer, a singer, but you want it to be taking place in like a heightened reality where it feels like you're seeing someone's dream.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, it's one of the early inspirations. Yeah. So for this, and you did the costuming on this. So exactly this, I had an image of Jacques Brel in like 1967 or something like that. Maybe I think it's from he there's a certain performance of him, and I'm gonna butcher it. La Boheme.
Charles Aznavour.
Was it Charles Aznavour? We wanted Jean Brassard here to kind of have that feel of a French singer from another time. And if you look at that photo right there, what Andrew was able to create, I mean, that's unbelievable, man. Look at that shot. It almost,
Yeah.
I wish I was Jean Brassard. Like, that's amazing.
And I would
Yeah,
say,
dude.
for me, this was probably the easiest part of the entire movie. The rest of this day was hard, but like I knew at the end of this day that we would earn just this fun stuff, because it's like we're shooting in a small dark restaurant with a lot of people, and we're doing like a conversation with like 7 different eye lines. And so like on some level, you know, you can feel the stress of people just like, oh, we're like falling behind. And then it's like, then we get to these music numbers that I know people are stressed about. And it was just like, just trust me on this one. Just roll the music. I think we probably did like
Yeah.
7 different takes in like 30 minutes. And on that stuff, it was just like, I already know what it is in my head. And I mean, we've literally talked about the angles that you wanted. So I already have them just logged in here. So it's about just going and doing it. And I don't know, that's the fun stuff for me where your brain kind of just shuts off and you just are like feeling it in the moment. And, you know, it was,
Yeah, absolutely.
I can like feel, I can feel Ante in the background being like, what the hell is this guy doing right now? And then I go do a take and they're just like, oh, okay, he knows what's up.
Yeah, it came
So,
together beautifully.
All right, Andy, walk us through this image.
this one and the one before it.
Right
Okay,
before
so
it?
this one I would say
Oh, that's
for
chill.
oh, not that one, the matching one. Are they out of order?
Oh no, it's this one.
Yeah, that one.
This looks dope.
So for me, I'd say based on a lot of the stuff we talked about beforehand, the style of this movie is modernism meets the French New Wave. And I'd say visually, we kind of distill that through David Fincher, specifically Seven, David Lynch, Blue Velvet, and for me personally, how weirdly stylistic a movie like Manhunter is, which I just kept talking about in prep because I love that movie.
Yeah, great.
So yeah, this one, I never shoot anything like this, but we just got into these sequences where you have just this very calculated person, and it was cool to just kind of start shooting things that are like very symmetrically composed, but with like very angular designs and leading lines in them. And so that made stuff like this really fun because you're kind of you know, we're like playing with the natural light that we have, but obviously Leanna and Kaz are just very good at shaping that. So I love this stuff where you kind of blur the line of realism in terms of lighting.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, and then it's like jumping randomly. It's weird. And then yeah, a little closer here, but yeah, I was getting some like American Psycho vibes, but shot at like 8K. And like, I mean, I know it's like, all right. So from a camera nerd perspective, any camera can tell a story in any equipment. There's been movies that have been shot on iPhones that people boast about that are pretty good, you know. But as a filmmaker and somebody who works on this stuff, like, we enjoy using these tools to like push our image and push our look, because it's kind of like, you know, we encourages us to like work harder, and it encourages us to like really use these tools. And it's like, you know, we're going to a race, and like if you get a car with a good engine, you know, you can like push the car, and you can really push your own boundaries to your own skill, because the car can handle you. Like, you can't break this thing. Like, try, you know? So that's, I don't advocate for people to go and like invest in equipment and stuff. Obviously tell the story first. If you're starting out, you're new to this, get in there and tell your story. But I'm not going to sit here and pretend to say that, like, you know, I like have a specific camera on my desk that I purchased that, you know, that I take family photos with. And because of what it is, I take a shit ton of family photos. You know, I use, this is an R5. And then like, it's like the tools that we use, it like almost encourages us to do more. You know, we don't let them sit on a shelf idly. And you can look behind me, there's a lot of old cameras on the shelf, like that my grandfather had, and stuff that's older than all of us, you know. And then, but the tools that we're using, that we've invested it over time, really help us like push the craft and like encourage us to do crazy shit. You know, it's like, Kyle, you want to go shoot in 2 a.m. in the middle of New York with no lighting?
Yes.
Let's do it, because it's going to look God
Yes.
damn it, like this, you know, like, and
Oh my
we're going to take
God.
our
This was
image
such.
and
This was.
and
I,
yeah,
I actually, if I could, do you remember we were standing on the corner, and I didn't think we were going to get this shot because it was literally, yeah, it was pouring rain. Nice and kind of clear here. The streets are still wet down, but it was pouring. It was brutal. We were shooting on the corner of 58th, looking at the Petrosian, and I didn't think we were going to get this shot, Andrew. And then I was like resigned to the fact that we lost it on the day, and then. You were like, all right, we're going to go down to the corner now and go into the park. And I was like, still? You were like, yeah, bro.
Oh,
And
I
then we
wanted
went.
it. It was just misting. I mean, we can handle that. I've been in the rain before. The thing is, we had this scene was really hard to shoot right here,
Yeah.
because that was when it was actually raining, and so you can't tell that we shot the wides, and then I pulled them over to something that looked similar, and I just got really close to use the depth to hide where we were in physical space. But it kind of started pouring during that.
yeah.
So that one was a little bit of a pain in the ass. The other
Yeah.
one, it's just like we had just enough rain, so we had a nice wet down, and so that actually made my life easier because, you know, you have Times Square right there, and that's technically a really bright place. And when you're shooting on a red Gemini where you can push it to 3200 ISO and you can open up to 1.4 on your Zeiss lenses, I mean, you're going to have plenty of exposure there. So the fact that we had all that rain on the ground really just increased our exposure and made everything more legible.
Yeah.
We're already going for a pretty dark silhouette-y look on the characters because it is a noir.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, it was just ideal. And if you notice in the foreground, for me, what's special is I believe that's a rat right there. So
yeah.
that's just super New York-y. There were a lot of rats running across the road here. So, you know, you have this really
A
beautiful
rat and a
moment.
horse.
You have a really beautiful moment of Times Square, but you have these rats running around. So that's just what it's like living here.
Yeah, and for reference to the audience, a wet down. So typically when we're shooting outside or like especially bigger productions, if the ground is dry, they'll literally wet the ground because as you can see on the floor here or the ground, there's reflections, and that normally would not be there if it was dry. The water is creating the reflection, which us as, you know, artists, we like the look. It just looks cooler. So we had like free wet down here from it previously raining, which is super nice. And then
Back in the day when I would work on like a $40 million movie in my brief career as a PA, you would pay a lot of money for a truck to come through and wet that down. So for me as a DP, when nature just does that, it's like, well, I gotta shoot it. I can't waste the wet down.
And then
that's very expensive.
And anybody feel free to chime in, but I'll start us off on this one. First thing that comes to mind is, well, it's a beautiful shot, but the second thing is that tea bag was such a pain in the ass because we were so afraid of like getting sued by the tea company or something, but it needed to be there. And then the actual Kaz actually rigged some tape, I think, around that the tag on it, so it didn't reflect any branding. And this shot, while maybe simple it seems, took maybe 45 minutes.
Yeah, that's gaffing tape,
Dude,
right? On
I
the T
don't
thing.
remember
Yeah,
that.
that's gaff tape on the T thing right here.
Yep.
Freaking
And
art
then-
department, man. The bathroom.
That one's actually pretty cool. I had to go wheel and deal with a bunch of Korean deli owners.
Oh yeah,
to
talk
allow us
about
to-
how like just the run and gun filmmaking.
Yeah, so this deli actually that we used, shout out Mercy Market, they're amazing. We had a deli lined up for about 4 months. We had a deal arranged with a proprietor, we'll call him. And 24 hours before we were slated to shoot in said location, he told me he forgot that he was getting married. Which was just the greatest lie ever told. And so we had to really quickly find a bodega to shoot in, and a place that we were actually getting all of our food catered from We arranged a deal with them, and they allowed us to come in after I think like 10 or 11 p.m. and they allowed us to shoot here. And this is a complete full-on run and gun. We actually used one of the owners of the store behind the counter there, actually as an actor in it. So this was really interesting, dealing with a lot of people actually coming in and out. Andrew, it was the only time you were able to use one excuse. What are you shooting?
Oh, the mayonnaise commercial.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were always shooting a mayonnaise commercial.
Yeah, that was great.
This will be
man.
fun to quickly go over how like more run and gun indie filmmaking here. Everybody.
Oh yeah,
New Yorkers know where we're at, but where are we?
we're underneath Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
Is that
So-
MSG pod? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
34th Street Station. Obviously, we had a lot of lights. We brought in all those lights back there. It was
Yeah.
a tough setup.
Yeah, it's crazy because like
Yeah,
I
shout
guess
out
like
the MTA.
yeah, the New Yorkers are
thanks,
pretty used to this
MTA.
stuff, but like we just jump onto like a subway train and just like do our thing, and most people don't give a shit. But like you work around it, right? It's like really
I'm very
no
proud of
fuss.
stealing those shots.
Yeah, this looks
Mhm.
dope.
Which
This looks sick.
was crazy because that was I don't remember what time it was after work lets out, say like 5 maybe 6 p.m. And so we're trying to steal these shots on full subway cars, and Andrew had to kind of be super mindful to not get any, regular people who weren't involved in the production of the film on screen. And yeah, I just remember that being very stressful. You did a great job again. I mean, look at that shot, right? It's both of them and nobody else.
I mean, with the nature of that kind of stuff too, it's like we can't really do anything. All I can do is bring Max with me to stand next to me to make people heavily incentivized to not want to take the camera from me.
Yeah, I just so like internally and people that get to know me, like I look really upset in person, but I'm actually quite happy on inside. I'm like a very cheerful person. I just don't smile a lot, and like my friends always defend me. But yeah, I'm actually quite pleasant. I'm not mean in any way. Like, and we just had like a Roto-Rooter guy come by our house to fix like a water line, and he gave me a $25 discount because he said, "You're so cool." I was like, "Do you have a lot of bad customers?" He's like, "Yeah, a lot of people are dicks." And I'm like, "Bro, like you're just coming to hang out with us." So he gave me a discount, which was really nice.
Hell
I
yeah.
know. I'm just a tall, twiggy boy with a $50,000 camera hanging around my neck, and I'm not even really looking at my surroundings because I'm so deeply invested in the monitor. So it really helps when you can have Max stand next to you and just be large and look mean if he wants.
We did have one sketchy night that we don't really have to go into, but that was a crazy night. We were like, can we say we got attacked? I don't know. It's almost.
Oh, you mean the one night when Max didn't have a coat and it was freezing, so he couldn't stand next to me one time, and then a dude did come up, and it was just like, nope, not having this.
Oh, that's when we were doing across the street stuff on the 200 mil, right? Yeah.
Filming in New York, in the Lower East Side at like 2 or 3 a.m.
It's like 2 a.m., the first cold night of the year, like in the Bowery. Just fun times.
That's sketchy.
Yeah. All right, Andy, give us the lowdown on this.
I mean, for me in the movie, this is kind of like the character's Joker turn almost. So one of the coolest shots for me where, the character is only lit from behind, keeping the face very dark and just very moody. Andre did a great job on really selling this.
Yeah, this was really cool. This was really, really cool. For a bunch of really cool reasons, right? Andre there, we had him you costumed with
Your hoodie and
yeah. So that was really cool to put my grandfather's actual coat in this scene. The coat that you see him in the last frame that he is then wearing, he puts on in this kind of like, stepping into somebody else's skin kind of situation that happens in this scene. And I just remember walking into this room and you guys having this lighting set up and I saw Andre in the frame, and I remember Andrew was like, let me show you what we did. And I just was like, oh my God, this is so great. Yeah, that's just
Oh
beautiful.
man, this is one of those times they're like, you ask them to set this up and they do it, and like once they're like reaching that point, they get that nice hair light up there, and you're just like, oh shit, this is so tight. I don't want to say that we did real good, but on that part, you're kind of feeling like we did pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, you guys crushed it. So many of these, I mean, are just so cool.
And then
I mean, you're right next to a really cool one. If you go up, right there, that's one of my favorite scenes. Yeah,
me too.
All right, and then yeah. So for the evening, let's finish it off with this little still here. So Kyle, talk us through. You don't have to don't ruin the story, but like give us the vibe.
Yeah. This for me is one of my favorites for sure. So what you're seeing here is you're seeing Jean Brassard, who plays the character of David. He's actually beginning right now singing probably the main song that is the through line, written by our co-producer Marcella here. She wrote the song. The music is made by Al Petrelli and Derek Wieland. And this is something that Andrew and I had spoken about quite a bit, about how we wanted to do this. It's really a transition shot from somebody's mind's eye into reality. And we wanted to do it in a really unique and interesting way. And this is what the end result was. It is just such a beautiful image. This one is great because it doesn't really reveal the crazier part of the shot. But we do have our actor spiking the lens, and we wanted that to be an unsettling aspect of this. But yeah, Andrew, I know this excites you too. If you want to speak to this frame, please. This is just so cool.
Yeah, this is one of the ones where when we talked about what this would be, this is not the location we planned on. So actually making this into what was still already in our heads was a little bit of a trick, because this is actually a very tiny space. But yeah, I loved it. And I remember this because Leanna, my gaffer, pulled out a piece of muslin on this one, and once she started putting that up there, it was like, oh man, yeah, that is the move. And the goal was to create something very surreal and dreamy. I believe we're on a 35 millimeter lens here, but we're also on a full frame speed booster. So, it's a very wide, shallow shot. And yeah, everyone was just excited watching this one on the monitor.
It's so cool. It's ridiculously cool. And yeah, Jean Brassard did an incredible job of sticking with it, because as you guys will see eventually, I mean, it's a difficult scene, not only in what he's doing acting, but also he is singing in this scene. So yeah, it's just a lot of layers of different things going on, and captured beautifully by these guys. Like, I couldn't ask for more. Yeah, Marie was played by Juliette Cochet, and super talented French born, but we can call her a New Yorker. Yeah. Juliet's a New Yorker. She lives here. She works here. Super talented actress. I truly believe you'll see a lot more of her in the coming years. She brought something crazy to this film, which was the authenticity and reality of a native French speaker, which is something that, thank God, we were able to have, because otherwise, a lot of that, what we were hoping to achieve, would have gotten lost. I mean, I still couldn't speak one sentence of French, and we shot a movie like a quarter in French, so I don't know how that happened.
Yeah.
Max, there's one more you should pull up.
Okay.
You dig talking about that one, Kyle?
Yeah, no, absolutely, 100%. Okay. I'll set it up a little bit, just location-wise. The scene that you guys are seeing a screen grab from here is, again, with our two leads, Andre and Juliette. And this actually took place down in at a village revival in the West Village. Our friend Jamal was kind enough to let us use his location for a couple different scenes. And this is in the back bathroom. It was ridiculously tight space, so the only people actually in this are our two actors and Andrew, who was operating in a super confined space. So I mean, this is beautiful.
Yeah.
Kaz was in there with you
For some parts of it, I think.
Oh, that's right. She
For
was
some of
down
it, for
low.
sure, yeah.
Yeah, and
Oh
then
my
here's
God.
Jamal, the owner of the store, who was
There's
kind enough to
Jamal.
let us yeah.
Amazing.
So hilariously, I feel like we lost all of our locations except for this one, our technical most nightmarish location, because this bathroom is not big enough for me to even lay down in. It's probably like 5 feet wide with maybe like a 2-foot wide space for the three of us to all be standing in. So going into it, Kyle was like, could we shoot a scene in here? And I was like, I don't want to, and I'm gonna have a bad day if we do, but I'll do it because it does look cool. But just as long as you know, we can literally only put one light in here. Like, we can rig one light overhead. That's as much as we can do because I'm not even going to fit in this space. And then actually shooting this scene was probably one of the most interesting scenes I've ever shot, because we're on a 28 millimeter lens on a full frame sensor. So if you know cameras, like if you look at this, like my lens is literally like against her head, and I'm probably like 18 inches away from him, but I pulled the legs of my tripod together to use it like a monopod, so it's constantly just like moving in and out the whole time. And
Yeah,
so
you
it's
can
kind
see
of
from the angle. Yeah.
it's kind of a dance between me and those two as to like what we're doing. And as they're moving in and out of their blocking, I'm kind of just moving freely with them. And then, yeah, it ended up being
Amazing.
great. It was technically a really gross location to film in, but could
It
have
was
been
a
worse, I
bathroom.
guess. It was
I
a
mean,
bathroom.
I'm gonna just be
It could have
forward
been
and
worse,
honest.
meaning I tried to get them to go down into the basement of the
Yeah.
record store.
There was a
I was
basement there. Oh my
I
God.
was expecting to be grumpier that day, but I think I was able to dissociate enough while I was shooting it that I could, just be happy with how cool it seemed like it was turning out.
I will say, for me and Andy, that's not the worst bathroom we've ever filmed in by far.
Where did we film in one that was worse? Oh,
see?
oh
You
God.
remember now.
Oh,
Yeah.
That
And then, like,
informed why
memories
I
just go
thought I was
back.
going to be grumpy here, because I filmed one scene in a really gross bathroom and we spent an entire day in that bathroom. So
nice.
Yeah.
Was it also the bathroom for everybody on the crew and set and everything like that? It was active.
Yeah, that was the
The bad
bathroom we
one?
had to use. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
oh yeah.
So,
Oh, of course.
yeah, it's like we had an actor on the toilet, and then we had 2 cameras in that bathroom too. Not much. It was actually a smaller space than probably about almost the same size as the one in the record store. And then we had the sound guy in the tub with me.
We were all in the tub together.
So it was wild times. And, I'm sure we'll be in another bathroom at some point in our life. But yeah, as always, guys, I'm Max. Thanks for watching this video. Feel free to like and subscribe. Ask more about the Blue Woman. And real quick, before we wrap, Kyle, tell us real quick synopsis for people that are just listening to this portion of the videos. Like if you are listening to us on Instagram or TikTok, this is a short form version of this video. There is a long form conversation on YouTube. You get a whole hour and a half and some change of us talking about this movie. Kyle talks about directing, Andy talks about DPing, and all of us working together. And we're not the only people that worked on this film. We're the only people that could get together at like 11 at night to talk about it. But we'll have more episodes, bring on other crew members, and we'll probably try to get like an actor in here from the film to talk and stuff. It'd be a lot of fun. And but yeah, real quick, Kyle, tell us a quick Spark Note advertise, like kind of like pitch us the film here, and then we'll wrap.
So the Blue Woman is a New York City story about a graffiti artist who's trying to turn into a fine art painter. and making his way through that world, struggling along the way, and potentially realizing that the best work that he creates is potentially the crimes that he commits. I guess would probably be the best descriptor of the Blue Woman. All along set against the art world, as well as the music scene in New York. It's a pretty crazy, I hate to say it, roller coaster of a movie, but I think that's definitely what we got. I think people are going to enjoy it. So
Yeah,
look
when
out
do you
for
have
it.
it slated for release?
I have no idea.
When
We're
it
looking
starts.
to hopefully finish. Yeah, we'll hopefully finish post production by at least the second half of 2026, and then look out for whatever the distribution path is thereafter. So at least by 2027, you should see the Blue Woman hit the world in various different forms.
Yeah, so to everybody watching and listening, you can follow along with Andy, Kyle. All of our Instagrams are all collabed and linked on these posts. And yeah, we'll keep talking about this movie when it comes out. We'll show it to everybody. So that'll be great. Awesome. Yeah, but
Amazing.
like I said,
Thank
as
you
always,
guys.
thanks for being here. Thanks, Andy. Thanks, Kyle. Thanks, Marcella. Can't wait to see you guys in New York soon when I get a chance to come back up for work. And Andy, I'll see you next week. We're going to be down here eating some barbecue and filming some stuff. So that'll be fun. Otherwise, this was awesome. Thanks, guys.
Hell yeah.
Thank you guys. Bye.